So in the beginning of my fitness journey, I went through basically the phase that I think most people go through whenever they first get into either tracking their calories and, like watching what they eat more of, trying to get in more protein and whatnot. I remember I did more of a phase of just making sure I got in my protein and then whatever else calories I got didn't really matter. Either the quality of food that I ate or how I got the energy. As long as I had like a decent amount of fat, decent amount of carbs, decent amount of okay, whatever. As long as I got my protein and my calories in, it was a-okay. And I was a little bit more carb heavy back whenever I first started, so I was eating a lot of like things that children eat, bro, like cereal and like weird muffins and whatnot. And I was like, yeah, I got my energy in for the day, I got my calories in for the day. But there was always kind of a weird sense of malaise that I was just kind of like living through constantly. And I would always look at myself and kind of think like, why am I not building more muscle? Why am I not, like getting to where I want? And part of that was my training wasn't like very good. I was like, I never really watched any of the like bodybuilders how to build muscle sort of thing. I just kind of like knew you went into the gym and I just kind of expected to grow muscle that way. I wasn't really sure like that you need to eat more or any of this stuff, but I also just didn't feel that great all of the time. Like I had this like baseline, but where I am now, I just know I was like lower energy and just not as good then. And anyways, as a young guy does, I stumble across this video and it's how to increase your testosterone. And so my younger self thinking, okay, testosterone's good. I want testosterone. I click on the video and I watch it, right? And the guy in the video, he talks about how when you make testosterone out of cholesterol and you need like more fat in your diet in order to have more testosterone. Like if you're having like chronically low levels of fat, like I was at the time, like I wasn't having a ton of fat. I was having some, obviously, but I wasn't having like a ton. Like it was like protein and carbs and then a okay amount of fat in my diet. And so I decided like I would listen to this guy and try it out for a month to see how it goes. And another thing that this guy told me was try eating more eggs because they have like cholesterol in them, they have good healthy fats in them. Try eating more eggs. Eat more than like 3 or 4 eggs, which was generally the amount that I would have. I remember whenever I would eat eggs, it was almost always exclusively whenever my mom made them, and they were like a little bit of scrambled eggs, like it's like probably like 2 or 3 eggs maximum. And I never really just made eggs by myself. But after that point, I decided that I would eat more eggs every single day. And so I started slowly. I added in one more. So I started making my own eggs. Started making 5, 6 eggs a day. I started eating a little bit more fat in my diet. I was still tracking my calories somewhat. And so I was increasing my fat intake to a lot more than I was. I think it was at like, I was probably at like 80 grams a day or something like that. I'm a smaller dude, so I wasn't eating a ton of food in general. And I probably upped it to like 100, 120 and something like that, along with and kind of like lowering the amount of carbs that I ate. And over that month, because I remember this, it was in June of 2023 whenever I first started doing this. Over that month, whenever I first started experimenting with this kind of higher fat, more eggs, lower carb diet, I started to feel a lot more alive and a lot more energetic and just a lot more like, whoa, this feels good. I was also cutting out junk food in that time, which probably also played a role, but I started to feel just like more awake, more often. And I didn't completely cut out junk food. I was still eating some like processed like protein pancakes or whatever at that time, but I started to feel a lot better because I was just adding like butter into things. I was eating more eggs, and I started feeling like a lot better more often. And so now, fast forward 2-ish years, a year and a half later, I eat just about 10 eggs every single day. Yesterday, I actually ate 20, but today I only have had 2. So, like, on average, it's about 10 eggs a day. I don't have eggs every single day, but all of my diet is protein and fat now. I have absolutely zero carbs. But safe to say, I eat a lot of eggs. And so in this video, I just wanted to tell you that story and then also why I eat basically 10 eggs every single day. Because, I mean, as I said in that story, my energy has gotten a lot better. I haven't actually tested my testosterone because I can't. I'm a broke teenager, bro. How am I supposed to get a blood panel? But yeah, I just feel a lot better subjectively. I have like symptoms of higher testosterone. I don't know if I'm like, teed out, like juiced out to the max, but um, my testosterone, I just genuinely subjectively feel better than I did back whenever I wasn't having 10 eggs every single day. Does that make sense? And so I just want to tell you that is one of the reasons why I eat 10 eggs just about every single day. But here's some other reasons as well, just in this video. But yeah, with that, if you should go subscribe right now because that would really support me and it'd be awesome. So yeah, go subscribe right now. Right now. But yeah, why I eat 10 eggs every single day. So I like eggs a lot now. So even before, I actually really enjoyed eating eggs, whether it was mostly just scrambled eggs, but I really actually enjoyed eating eggs. I have some friends that they just like can't stand eating more than like 4 eggs. It's just like the texture gets to them and they're just like, ugh. For me, I can smash like 10 eggs, no problem. I can smash a dozen eggs, no problem. Like for me, I love the taste, the texture. I love eggs, right? And so yeah, that's a good reason why I eat a lot. And I can get why that maybe the texture is kind of off-putting, but I think there's ways that you can kind of get around that. There's different ways of cooking them that are really good. So for me, my favorites, these are the 3 that I kind of go to, is scrambled, fried, and boiled. So like hard or soft boiled. Those are the 3 that I go to normally. I'm not like I haven't really experimented with, was it like poached eggs where you like crack them in the boiling water and whatnot. I haven't really experimented with that. I want to try it, but it's just not something it's not really like a go-to. It's not like tested and trusted by me, honestly. And so I really like hard-boiled because you can basically cook them and then just transport them wherever, and then you have a meal with you. It's like the easiest meal prep that you could possibly do. It's just boil some eggs, dude. It's awesome. It's pretty good. And fried, it's so simple. You just gotta like get enough, butter or oil on the pan. I use tallow and butter. So I just do that, and then you flip them, make sure they're crispy, and then if you have the heat to a certain level, you can get them crispy, but also have a kind of like squishy inside, so it's not like just dry. And then there's scrambled, and that's just so simple. You just like whip it together until they're cooked, basically. And so I really like eggs for that reason, is because there's such a variety of ways that you can cook them. It really breaks up the monotony of them. And so you can just enjoy a different dish, but it's the same thing. It's the same nutritious, protein-rich thing over and over and over again. I don't really get sick of fried eggs. Like, I've probably eaten fried eggs for probably like 2 months in a row now. I probably had like a week of eating scrambled eggs, but like it's so hard to get sick of fried eggs for me personally. So yeah, that's really why I'm able to eat 10 eggs every day. Is just because it's like the variety never gets old for me. But something else that I mentioned in there was like the protein and the nutrients in eggs. And something that I've learned is that eggs have a crap ton of like other nutrients besides just like the protein and the cholesterol and whatnot that I was talking about for testosterone and whatnot. I learned that they have a ton of vitamins and minerals that are like you kind of need to survive. And honestly, like not having eggs is kind of like, I mean, it's like less nutrients for your body if you like just have like no eggs and then you don't have anything else nutritious. It's like, dang, that's so sad. And another good thing about that though is like they're so nutritious, but they're so inexpensive in general. Like for me personally, I eat a carnivore diet, right? Like I said, I eat protein and fat basically exclusively. So I eat a carnivore diet, right? So meat, eggs, some dairy, really just butter. And so meat can be actually like pretty expensive to be honest. And I'm not a big fan of eating, like fatty chicken or fatty pork just because I've heard about like the poor quality of fat that is on pork and chicken and whatnot. And I genuinely don't feel that good after eating like fatty chicken anymore. Like yeah, it can be kind of tasty for a little bit, but after a little bit, honestly, like I'm not a big fan of it. It just doesn't taste as good. It's just kind of meh. It's not as good as, like beef or lamb to me personally. And so I find that in order to kind of mitigate the expenses, because red meat can be kind of sort of expensive, I can understand that. And especially if you're, yeah, especially if you want like more whole things instead of just ground beef, it's typically going to be more expensive. Ground beef isn't as expensive, but I get it. It's generally just a more expensive piece of food as compared to other things like chicken or pork and whatnot. And so eggs are a good substitute to like chicken and pork for me personally, because generally they can be pretty high quality but pretty inexpensive. So I was looking the other day at this like pasture raised these eggs that are probably going to be like super high quality. They're pasture raised. They aren't fed like probably any grains or any nonsense. They just eat like bugs and grass and whatnot. In bulk for a lot of eggs, right? Because I eat a lot of eggs, it would go by pretty fast. It wouldn't go to waste. It was like $5 per dozen. And that's really good considering that pasture raised eggs here can go for like $11 a carton, or yeah, like 10, 8, $9 per dozen, and it was $5 per dozen if you buy it in like the bulk thing. So that's pretty good for a high quality level of eggs. The eggs that I generally get now, they're like okay, but they're for around $4 a dozen, which is still really, really good. And you can buy them in bulk in Costco. So I think it's good because you can just, if you eat a lot of eggs every single day, you can just buy them in bulk for cheaper. And it's awesome because whenever you eat 10 eggs a day, that's like basically a third or a half of your calories throughout the day in general. And so you're just reducing the amount of cost that you have per day, which I really enjoy. But yeah, that's kind of the reasons why that I eat 10 eggs every single day. It's kind of like a simplistic video, honestly, but I mean, that's just the truth. They make me feel pretty good. They're inexpensive. They're nutritious. You know, you can buy them in bulk, and they're really easy to meal prep. They're really easy to cook. Like you do not have to have any level of cooking experience to know how to cook eggs. They're like they're like level 1 on terms of being able to like cook. And I'm sure you can like get fancy with them and do some like weird stuff with it. But in order to just like cook eggs and have like decent scrambled eggs, fried eggs, whatever, like you, you do not need a high level of skill, which I really enjoy because if you compare that to something like, I don't know, like a steak or whatever, and you want like a really nice crust, you kind of have to have like a cast iron, you have to like get the heat right, and you have to flip it and make sure the crust is all good. Steaks are kind of hard for me, honestly. And like I'm kind of a cooking beginner, and so I just find it really easy to cook eggs. And then whenever I do have meat, I generally have just like burgers or roasts because it's just so easy for me. Because then I can focus on other things throughout the day. And so that's another reason why I like eggs a lot. It's just because they're so simple. You know, if you're in a rush for time, just kind of either one, scramble eggs up really quickly, or two, just hard boil eggs um, leading up to it. So you just have something that you can eat kind of on the go. You like just crack them open, just kind of pop them in. And it's like boom, eggs. So yeah, a little bit of a more simplistic video, but that's why I eat 10 eggs every single day. And that's why I would suggest to you to try to eat more protein, to eat more fat, because I think you'll feel a lot better. At least that's my experience with it. And I don't think there's people that will say like, oh no, the cholesterol in eggs is bad for you. I don't think that's true. Eggs are like I don't think there's any person out there who could eat just eggs exclusively and then get like sick from them. You know, like you might get sick of the eggs because it's just the same thing over and over again. But I think there's other things like junk food and weird like sugar and whatnot that generally causes like the problems that people blame on fat and cholesterol and whatnot. I think it's the actual unhealthy stuff that is causing those problems, and people are just like, oh no, like they're brainwashed from back in the 70s whenever the food pyramid was still a thing, bro. That's crazy. Anyways, yeah, that's why I eat 10 eggs every single day. I would suggest that you try to eat more eggs. If you don't like them, then like, okay, I understand. If you can't tolerate them, like, okay, I understand. Eat more protein though, eat more fat. It's good for you. It makes you feel good. Makes me feel good anyways, and that's why I would encourage others to try to eat that more and get rid of like the weird sugar stuff in their diet. So yeah. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.